Hello and welcome. I'm Les Bubka and you're listening to Accidental Podcast or something like that. In this episode, I've got the pleasure to talk to Carl Fisher, BJJ exponent, precision self-protection grappling coach. I came across Carl's work a few months ago through reading his post, an article on pressure points, which I agree with mostly. We talk about it as well, but mainly what was very interesting for me, it was Kaz's story about being attacked on the street on the way home and how that went through. You not often see people from the realms of self-protection and telling about their own failures, how they froze and what went wrong. I'm gonna save the details for Carl to say it in interview, and yeah, it's just refreshing to hear his thoughts on it, how he dealt with his trauma, which that led us to a mental health aspects of sport and dealing with it within the self-protection world. I think we concluded that the title of it will be Awareness is the Key, which is, I think it's a perfect title summarizing our conversation. I know that for Carl was a bit different because mostly people talk about his BJJ. We covered that a bit as well, all the grappling, but mainly we focus on self-protection, and I hope you're gonna enjoy that conversation. All the links to Carl's work gonna be in the description. If you enjoy this, if you think that it was valuable, and you think that it can help other people, please feel free to share through your social media. That will help channel to grow. I'm enjoying those podcasts, so I would like to continue, but without listeners, there's no point doing it. Maybe not. If you would like to support the channel or my Karate for Mental Health program, you can buy our merchandise. So we've got t-shirts, we've got some books of mine for sale on my website, so it's www.lesbubka.co.uk, or use our affiliate links, which is no cost to you, but it throws some spare change towards the club, which we're gonna need after opening back, because our students level dropped down dramatically. So we're starting from the very beginning, from scratch, opening a fresh dojo, and we'll see how it goes. Well, enough me talking, let's go and speak with Carl. Thank you. Hi Carl, how
Hello.
are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. And yourself?
Very good, thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, pleasure
So,
to be on. Pleasure to be on board, mate.
so we met through the online after your article about the vital points and touch KOs.
Yes, yeah, I'm
I'm
still alive. I'm still
I'm
alive.
98% with you on that one.
Yeah,
I had the pleasure to be actually knocked out by a strike to the pressure point on my chin. It was very strange to be done, but my problem with pressure points are, yeah, they may be working on some people,
yeah,
but you have to be very still, not moving, and give
yes,
all the
yeah,
chances to people to do it.
yeah. That's it. The article came from one of my students with the lockdown being in, and I said, right, let's just ask me some questions about martial arts and things. Like I say, the first one of my students, they'd been watching Cobra Kai.
I can't stand it.
In the last series, he had a fight Danny LaRusso in Okinawa with one of his opponents, and it looked like they were doing some like pressure point strikes. He was kind of paralysed. My student just said, "Oh, I saw that on the telly." And then it's the age-old question: do pressure points work? And I say I'm still alive. I thought I was going to get slated, but I agree. Yeah, I've no doubt that they work on somebody that's standing there. Yeah, no problem. That's static, but writing it from a doorman's point of view, you're not going to get that chance. The person's most times they're going to be high on drink or drugs, or the adrenaline's flowing. You know, I've seen people with like compound fractures still carry on fighting. You know, the adrenaline can numb pain like you've never seen before. I've seen all kinds of horrible injuries and people fighting, and they just carry on. So the point I was getting across, I think, to my student, I was saying, yeah, you might have these liver, intestine, all these channels on the body, fine, no problem. But if you're on the doors, like I say, I'm in Bolton. I used to work in Bolton at North. January, February, very, very cold, bitter. You've got a jumper, shirt, jacket on a person, and you're in a hyped up situation as well. So your body as a doorman, you're going through the adrenaline dump, and everything shuts down, and it's narrow vision. It's going to be very difficult, like for a knuckle to like hit something that's like the size of a 2-pence piece through a few layers of clothing, you know. But and then I said to my student in the article, I like to apply pressure, say with an open palm strike to the face. That'll latch on. That'll get you a concussive strike. I'll say an elbow to the jaw. That's a pressure. That's application of pressure. So that's where it came from. And I thought, well, I'll put me 2 pence in, and it went down okay. I got to meet you through it, and I got some old school traditional martial arts people messaged me, and they said, "Oh yeah, good article." You know, I thought I was going to get flamed, but it wasn't. I wasn't hypercritical of anything. I was just putting it from my point of view as working as a doorman. You know, it's good. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I think the article was very well balanced and very politely written.
Yeah.
And I think everybody who does contact competition is aware how efficient pressure points are.
Yeah.
Because when you're full of adrenaline, you don't have to be in a self-defense situation. Even in sports, you just go through it. You know, I've done that.
You see in the UFC, you see the 5 minute rounds, and there's blood everywhere, and yet they've been hit with ground and pound, and they've not been knocked out.
Yeah.
You know, you see them, you know, their faces split, and there's blood everywhere. You know, and they still, you know, carry on fighting. They just missed just an inch or two away, or a millimeter away from the killer punch. And then you'll see some fights, they'll get into ground and pound. They'll have bang bang 1, 2. You know, the guy's been or the woman, their opponent's been tagged, and out they go.
Yeah.
You know.
So you, as your martial arts background, you abandoned karate to move on to the BJJ, and now self-protection. Could you give us a brief bio of your martial art journey?
Yeah. I started in karate. That was way back 1989. There's no really UFC wasn't heard of then or anything. And it was either karate, judo, Thai boxing. I got into that, and then I got introduced into traditional jiu-jitsu with Trevor Roberts in early 90s. So I steered down towards that path. I got introduced to the grappling side of things, which helped back me up with the striking skills that I'd learned. And that got me into judo and sambo with Trevor and Matt Klempner. He ran a lot of sambo competitions in the Northwest in the early 90s. So BJJ was coming in like 93, 94, but it was very much like the Gracie in action videos, and there was like a black market where you trade these jiu-jitsu videos and things. And then obviously the UFC came along, and a lot of it was very underground, the BJJ. You know, there wasn't many people teaching at the time in the 90s. You know, you had like Carly Gracie. I think that was one of the first seminars that a lot of people I knew went. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. And then you have Mauricio Gomez came in. You know, he brought his son along, Roger, and it grew up from them. And there's like guys like Roger Brooking that I can remember from the early days, and a lot of the black belts that you see now came over as like brown belts. You know, I remember Braulio Estima came as a brown. I started training with him, and Victor Estima, they were brown belts and came. I think Roger came in as a blue belt, if I remember, just to come down to London and stuff. So I stuck with that, and then got my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 2016. So now I'm a first degree black belt. I should get a second stripe. I think the maths served me well next year. I got to black belt in karate with Steve Costello. That was with the IBA, with the guy called Phil Milner, who's no longer with us. There's International Budo Association. And I got that, yeah. I got my second down with Trevor, black belt with BJJ. Then 2017, I met up with Gary Hilton. He runs Precision Self-Protection. And he comes from a striking background. And we just got chatting, we got friendly, we had the same thoughts about self-protection, the same ideas and things. And I was more of a grappler. So he said, come on board as a chief grappling instructor. And we teamed up with that. We did some seminars last year in February, just before COVID. So we'd had a load of seminars planned, like everybody else was.
Yeah, exactly.
We were going to take the world by storm and get this going and that going. And then it's all just messed up, you know. I've been trying to run a PSP class in London, but the centre where I've got, obviously it's a community centre, it's been closed, and it was open, and then they said, oh, we don't know if we're taking people on. And then we've had these 3 bloody lockdowns, but fingers crossed, when we come out of this one, the people at the centre said I can start running the classes. So, and then if it all goes off in June, like the Prime Minister says, you know, Gary and myself will start the seminars going back on, and hopefully get on expos and do seminars and start teaching.
Excellent. So I read that you've done kind of nearly everything in the grappling world. So you've done cage wrestling a little bit, sambo, judo, and BJJ. What are because my background is in kind of Greco-Romano wrestling plus freestyle. I've been doing BJJ for about a year when I moved into UK, and I had the pleasure feel the leg locks from the sambo from Vic Horsty. Here is from Slough. What would you say the differences between them, those kind of thoughts of training or schools of training, and why do you stick with BJJ?
I think probably the differences with them, I think, must be the rules. I think it's the rule sets, because in judo you're not allowed to footlock. Let's say that. Sambo, they feared for the leg locks. I did a lot of training. My coach Trevor, he's a Russian master of sport. Matt Klempner, again, Russian master of sport. So I had 2 big influences with the sambo in the early 90s. Before BJJ comps got popular here, there was a lot of sambo up in the north. So you'd just go in and do those competitions just for the competition experience. And I trained in judo with Matt. I got up to blue belt with the BJA, but I was doing my degree. And the last year was so busy, I just didn't have the time, and sadly I've not got back. I got back to it, but I enjoyed the competition. I did competitions. I've done grading. I've graded with the police, because Matt was a defensive instructor for the police. So I managed to get a grading or 2 in with the Greater Manchester Police. So that was an eye-opener, to say the least. And then Trevor, he'd done freestyle wrestling as a youth and catch wrestling. And I managed, very fortunate to train with Roy Wood from the Snake Pit and his daughter, Andrea. So again, with Trevor and Roy and things, it was like introduction to the Nelsons and things like that, which you don't really see a lot of it in BJJ if you're a pure BJJ. So you can having that cross training those different arts. You know, so a lot of the stuff in catch, if you do it in a BJJ comp, you'll get disqualified because of the rule sets again. But I was training with Trevor, and I trained over at Atherton Submission Wrestling. They were a big part of my life. Got guys like Darren Morris, Shane Rigby, Jack Mountford, all those type of guys, unbelievable skills. But it was known as submission wrestling. Back then it was Atherton Submission Wrestling Club. And again, heavily influenced from Jack Mountford, old school, judo master, catch wrestling. You've got Darren Morris, just an absolute beast. And you've got Shane Rigby, his freestyle wrestling. So it was like a big melting pot of these different little techniques that I still catch people with today. Like with the Nelsons, like you turn people like, oh, what was that? You know, because it's not really what you class as a BJJ move, you know. And it's the mindsets as well, the train. I think the freestyle wrestling is very, very conditioned, and they have a strong fighting spirit. You know, they don't give up. And same with the catch, you just go from one to another. And say the training with Trevor was very tough, and I was quite light. I was 80 kilos, and I used to train at Atherton with this little Asian guy called Icky, and we were both 80k. And then the next set of lads were like 95 onwards, and then you got Darren at the time, who was 100 plus. It was massive, and all the 100 kilo guys would treat me and Icky like we were their weight, so there was no quarter given. You know what I mean? They went in hard. Yeah.
But I remember my first experience with the wrestlers, and it was frightening.
Yes.
Coming as a karate person, stiff as a board, although coming from a kind of Kyokushin background, and we're not as stiff as the traditional guys. But my God, when they grabbed me and I did the high throw, I thought I pooped myself in a pants. But I took a lot from it. I loved it.
Yeah, it was the same. I was training with Trevor. I got my black belt. I've done a bit of groundwork. I thought, oh yeah. And the Bolton Wrestling Club, there'd be a room upstairs, and there'd be, say, Shane and Darren Morris and Jack and Barry Scargill, Barry the Bastard. He'd be there. Loads of characters. Phil Knight. And I remember Phil, we were training. I thought, I'd be all right here. And I got absolutely murdered off all of them. And I thought, what is this? You know, and I told Trevor, he just like, oh, no, laughed because he knows them all, but yeah, like you say, they get older, yeah, tie you up in knots. You know, the wrestling, and again, like I say, it's a mindset. You know, they're not into the rules of BJJ. You can't do this, you can't do that. But it was foot locks, heel hooks, knee bars. Way before I started doing BJJ, all the illegal stuff you can't do in a IBJJF competition. It was fair game, face bars all day long, everything. You know, so it was a good learning curve.
Do you think that BJJ gonna head the way of Greco-Romano wrestling and a judo with very narrow specification of the technique, so everything's gonna be ban till
it's looking that way. Yeah, they do say you can't do this technique or you can't do this move. They're trying to say it's for the safety and things, but it could possibly, you know, they're trying to say they want to get it into the Olympics, but I don't see.
I think they're gonna.
I don't see how it could, because judo have had to take a lot of things out to make it more watchable for the general public. Now, if you have an adult black belt match in BJJ, it's 10 minutes.
Mm.
And you'll probably see 9.5 minutes of them on the ground, one guy trying to pass guard, they're defending, and because they're technically so
Evenly matched.
That's it. So any mistake, can mean curtains for the opponent. So you sat watching a match for 10 minutes and they win by an advantage. There's no way that will get on television. It just
that's the problem with the wrestling. I'm finding that if you're a top player, you're just waiting for that one chance, and it might take whole match.
Yeah.
And nobody does anything. That's not as exciting for the people who are within the environment, but not for general public.
Yes, cool. Yeah, for the BJJ fan, brilliant. But yeah, somebody who's just sat on his couch, with a few cans, they'd be saying, "What's that?" And I used to referee BJJ. I'd just rather watch white belt matches. To be honest, because the majority of them, they just get stuck in, and that's where you get a lot of the exciting matches. But there's exciting matches across the board, but the higher up you go, sometimes you've won by an advantage, and it's 7, 6, 8, 10 minutes, so it's not going to make for compulsive watching, really.
Sure. I was watching your interview with Mal, Kudo Mal.
Oh yeah.
About your self-protection, the precision self-protection adventure. And the one thing which strikes me, which I actually really liked, you've been telling this story when you've been mugged, and you've been saying it as it is. What I'm finding with people from the self-protection and self-defense stuff, you rarely see people saying, "Oh yeah, I just been hit in the head, I couldn't do anything," and that's the reality. You always kind of get them, "Oh, I murdered this one, I fought off this ones, I'm super great." So it was kind of very refreshing for me to see a person teaching self-protection saying, "Well, shit happens."
Yes, exactly. I wanted to get the story across, to say that the guy stood in front of me, he didn't know who I was or what my background was. He's a thief. He's probably it could be a drug addict. He's going out thieving to make money, so he's probably not got a job. He's done it before. They're desensitized to violence, these type of people. There's probably been a life of crime. So whilst me and you have been going to school, not to him per se, but for the violent offenders,
Sure.
When me and you are at school, they're not at school. They're bunking off, whatever, getting into selling drugs or just getting into crime. Whilst we're going to bed, they might be getting beaten up by the parents. So by the time we leave school and get a job, they've graduated into higher crime, and they've had beatings, they have gang fights and stuff like that. So they're desensitized to a lot of pain and abuse. We're going about our daily jobs and stuff, and we don't really dip our toes into that world. So when you come face to face with a guy like that, he was stood, he had tracksuit pants, a hoodie, mask across his face, and from his body language, I knew he had a weapon. So I instantly assumed it was a knife. So you're confronted with that. It's 11 o'clock at night in the car park. There's no way, I couldn't run away because there's no entries into the flat, because that was a next door flat, so I didn't have an access key. The walls to the side have got protective fence, so they're like 10, 12 foot. So I had to face him and go through it. There's no, I couldn't run round the car. I was like a cartoon character. And I'll admit it, the adrenaline freeze hit me, which it would. I'm not, just I think self-protection, I still react to what we teach about the physiological response. I still got it. Yeah, I got a massive dump, and I thought, oh shit. Inside, I'm like, oh my God. He's not speaking. He's just standing there. And like I said, I'd finished a class. I'd done a self-protection class, and I had a rucksack on my back. I used to take a bag of boxing gloves in. Yeah. I've been to the shop, got some beer. So I've got all those on me. And I didn't have time to I chucked my beers on the floor. but the bag had twisted round on my arm, so I couldn't get the bag off. So I'm stuck. And then he started moving towards me. I came out of the car, walked around to see. So that gave me a distance. So once the adrenaline freeze kicked in, because there was a distance away, I had time to like, come on, get on it. You've got to go through this guy. Yeah. If I had not been aware of my surroundings, I would have got out of the car, just walked round. There's a little curb, and I'd have been this close in my face, and I wouldn't have had time to get out of the freeze. You know, it's going to happen. You've just got to. It's a switch off, switching it off and getting in. So we started swinging. I just assumed it was a knife, you know, and we got into a tussle, got some strikes in, headbutts in, and some knees and stuff like that. It kind of like dropped to the ground a bit. So I thought, right, I'll run into the middle car park, ditch my gear off, and then get in proper. But it was a young kid, you know. I mean, I'm loaded down, I'm old and slow. And then I just felt it on the head here. I just felt it like that. So it wasn't a knife. I think it was a crowbar, because we have lock-up garages for the bikes, and they're always getting broken into. And, you know, I drove to my car spot and he wasn't there because the lights are bright. And I think he might have just been hiding inside, seeing which way I went. If I went the other way, maybe, you know, but it was there. Just one of those things, you know. I got clonked on the head, dropped down to the floor, and then thankfully it was only one hit, and he was off. So yeah, so blood pouring out of my head, and that down, and my missus come down. I said, "Where's my beers?" You know. So I saved my beers, so there's something positive from it. But yeah, I was going to write an article on this attack, because it covers everything that me and Gary talk about. You know, pre-fight fear, in-fight, post-fight, afterwards. You know, I was shook up. You know, I had 5 stitches. It was down to the bone. You know, I had to have a scan and everything. You know, just because I teach self-protection doesn't mean, you know, like you just get over it. You know, it was a very traumatic event. You know, I've been bashed over the head, and, you know, it took me a while, you know, to get the confidence back. You know, it's a scary thing, but if it wasn't for my training, it could have ended up a lot worse. You know, so that's the positives I take from it, and, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know.
Yeah. Which that brings me to a question which I usually ask. I'm going to motivate a little bit for you, because you're not in karate, but how do you think the martial arts have impacted your mental health? And from other side, you've been on the side where you've been traumatized. How do you address in a self-protection environment dealing with that trauma and mental health?
I think my training definitely helps my mental health. This being in the lockdown has been horrendous. You know, not being able to go out and get my training. You know, the feeling good from training and everything that comes with that. You know, seeing your students, having a drink afterwards. You know, going on competitions. You know, it's a really positive outlet for mental health. You know, I had a gym in Bolton years ago. The building we were in, there was a huge fire. There's multiple businesses, and it burnt to the ground. And I was up and running 6 days later. So it was the martial arts that helped me. You know, I could have sat down there and been sorry for myself and stuff, but with the discipline you get, you know, from training and things like that, you know, and you can't sit and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, you learn the overcoming obstacles, isn't it?
Yes.
Constantly training. You've got a problem, you have to overcome it.
That's it. Yeah. Just like trying to work out how to pass somebody's guard. You know, you've got to work it out. You know, take trial and effort, and then you'll get there. You know, but it's no point. I see loads of people struggle. They can't pass somebody's guard for it. That's a big common thing in jiu-jitsu. And you see them get frustrated, and then, you know, a lot of them, they stop training. You know, it's not easy, you know, because you're trying to pass somebody's guard. The guard doesn't want you to do it. So you've got to be, you know, you're doing karate. He's trying to kick you in the head. You're trying to do the same, you know. So you've got to work with ways to misdirect the karate guy, so you can get in with a strike. And similar with a submission, you know, mate. Threaten them with one submission, so they'll think, right, well, they should react and move to this position, and that's where you get them. You know, like they say, it's a game of chess. You know, like you're looking for the second move to catch them, not the first. You know? And a lot of the skills you can apply, like you say, to everyday life. You know, the pressures of just living, you know, getting a house and mortgage and working problems out and things like that. You know, so. What was the second one you said about?
How do you kind of introduce overcoming trauma and kind of mental issues? Because people coming to you for self-protection, they probably had something happen to them.
Yeah.
How do you overcome? I had a lady last week talking about the female self-defense. She's running classes, and how many barriers she's got from women that have to think all the time about, you know, we as men don't think we're going outside, we're gonna think that somebody's gonna try to rape us in a car park where I'm gonna park. How do you kind of help people to overcome the mental health issues within the self-protection training?
Well, I've had people come to me, say that they've had a traumatic incident, yeah, or even with BJJ. You know, they want to learn to defend themselves. You know, and the first thing I'll say to them is that the bravest thing that you've done is coming up the stairs into the gym. You know, that's the first thing, overcoming that. You know, especially for women, you know, it can be intimidating. You either go upstairs into a gym or go down into a gym, and they say 15 guys rolling around and stuff, and it can look quite intimidating. So especially with the women, I just go over and have a chat and just say, you've made the most, one of the most important things you've done is actually turn up to the gym, you know, and find out what's happened, you know. And then we say, just, as I say, keep coming to training, and said, you'll feel good about yourself, you will get confidence, and just keep turning up to class. You know, you get the feel good endorphins, don't you, from a good class. And in time, you know, I've seen people come down and they walk like this, you know, very withdrawn because they've been beaten up or whatever, they've been mugged or whatever, you know. And then within a month, you know, they're cracking jokes with the rest of the team. And I think it really impacts positively on like I say, on your mental health, just the team dynamics, the team cohesion, they're making friends. And, you know, I always tell my students, when you see a new person, be friendly to them. Just think how you felt when you walked in on your first class. It can be intimidating. It's a match. You know, you big guys like that, and it can be an intimidating environment for men as well as women. You know, if you're a smaller guy and you've been you've had physical harm done to you, you know, it can be quite a daunting place. But, you know, if you have a welcoming, nurturing environment in the gym, you can see them progress and they get the confidence, you know. And I say, once you're a lot more confident, your body language changes. So if you're outside for a predator, you know, they look for an easy target. So you see people change from like, no, the head down and that, and then they're up and confident. The mugger or whatever, they'll take a look at them, they'll be eyeing up an easy target. And if you look confident and a lot bigger just by standing up straight, you know, you can raise your height by an inch or two, you know. And the research shows when they interview muggers, I have friends who are in the police, and they say, why did you do that? I said, it was an easy target. You know, so we talk about target hardening, you know, making yourself not an easy target, and a lot of it just posture, body, the way you hold yourself, and having the self-confidence, you know, and that can get you out of a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody wants the easy job, even a mugger, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah. They want the person who's walking down the street with their earphones on, looking, playing, whatever, on the phone, and totally unaware of the surroundings. You know, see it on the doors. Easy pickings. The guy comes out, or a woman out of the club into the kebab shop. They can hardly stand up. They walk around the corner. 5 minutes later, they come to the front door. They've got a burst lit. The phone's gone, or the wallet, and they say, "Oh, they just came out of nowhere." And we said, "Look, we saw the guys walk round." You know, they just pick on, like you say, they pick on the easy pickings. So that's what we try and do with the PSP. We emphasise a lot of what we call the soft skills. Like you've seen, like awareness and avoidance, having the right mindset in yourself, understanding the body's reaction to when it all goes wrong. You've missed certain cues. You've tried de-escalating. You know, then I talk about the preemptive strike and what happens afterwards. Like I say, the post-fight fear, and just say it's perfectly natural to feel that way after the incident. You know, I think a lot of I've been to a lot of classes, and they'll just say, "Do this, do this, do this, that," and I'll block and I'll strike, and they don't tell you what's happened for it to get to that position. With me, I think there's a lot of cues that are missed to when somebody's really in your face. But unless you're walking down a really dark alley and somebody jumps out on you, you don't have time for a conversation or stuff like that. You know, that's a different kettle of fish. But a lot of confrontations, that they've seen you before you see them, and they think, right, he'll do, she'll do. You know, so that's what we place a lot of emphasis on. You know, the hard skills, yeah, of course. Yeah, you need to strike and strike hard, but if you can just be switched on, and you can be 100 yards down the road and you see something that you don't like, you can either cross the road or turn around and go another way. It might take you 20 minutes longer to get home, but you're not in that situation. And so that plays a huge part in self-protection, like looking after yourself.
I know that you are you've got a degree in sports science.
I do, yeah.
How do you translate a skill of teaching sports into teaching self-protection? Do you see crossovers?
Yes, yeah. We did sports science and coaching. So we did the sports science side of it, did the fitness and nutrition and testings and things like that. But what interested me was the psychology, sports psychology, and I think that helps specifically in team cohesion. We did a module on that, how teams form, the stages of team forming, and how it benefits any type of group, whether it's football, netball, and things. And I think that's really helped me look into creating a good team. You know, you get the good team dynamics. Everybody's working together. You get everybody motivated. What language to use, what not to use. You know, there's the sports psychology, like mental toughness and things. That really helps with the self-protection side. You know, getting the right frame of mind. You know, because a lot of it's psychological. You know, I think most people, they don't want to do violent things. You know, me and you, as students, you know, it's not natural, you know, to want to go out and stick a screwdriver in somebody just for a mobile phone. To do that, it takes a lot to like physically stab somebody. You know, but like I said to you before, we try and educate what it's like in the mind of the attacker. So you've got to see where they're coming from. You know, and you see that, and you see it with a lot of women. Oh, I can't punch this. I can't do this. you know, but sometimes you might have to stick your fingers in the guy's eyes, you know, maybe pop an eye out, you know, how far do you have to go to get rid of it? And they go, oh, I can't do it. And you have to say, you have to, it's within you. So you've got to slowly build up that confidence and the intent for when you're going to strike. You've got to physically hurt these people, you know, give them a hurting injury, you know, to stop them, because they're going to be adrenalized and things. So, and then you have to get the drills and stress drills to give them the confidence. And once you see somebody that was a bit hesitant, once you get the confidence, you know, you see them hitting the pads and getting stuck in, you know, it's really good as a teacher to see that. You know, they can switch it on when needed.
It is very difficult. We in karate, which I'm revolving in, is more kind of Ian Abernathy stuff and orientated.
Oh yes, yeah.
More towards self-protection. I personally don't teach self-defense, self-protection. I avoid using those terms because I think they are misleading in what I teach. But I think John Teachin, who specializes in self-protection from karate and his own dart program, asked the question, really as an instructor and teaching people to do physical harm, how would you answer the question, could you kill person or maim or really harm if you defended yourself? And I thought about it, and honestly, I don't have a clue. I don't know if I would be able to push myself to actually, you know, do the huge harm or make somebody disabled or kill them. I can't even imagine. I've been in a few fights, but you know, it's a youngster fighting, so it's more like a tournament fighting instead of being attacked.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's a very difficult question to answer, isn't it?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, people say, "Oh, I'll do this and I'll do that," and yeah, I'll wipe this guy out and everything. No, I think it goes against a lot of people's moral codes. But you know, it's not often you have your life on your line, so you have to try and teach people. You know, it's the appropriate response to the threat that's against you. You know, you see a pub fight and you think that's violence. You know, it's not real violence. It's on the spectrum of violence, what I call the spectrum. Bit lower down, it's just normally two blokes, usually two men fighting. It's clash of egos, bit of pushing, peacocking, fucking do you, few punches, a flat lip. They go off, and then next thing, this guy's got a reputation as a street fighter.
Yeah.
You know? But then there's the other level, like we say, you know, violent sexual assault and stuff like that. You know, and your life depends on it. You know, and with that kind of that level of violence, it'll freeze everybody. You will get the adrenaline freeze. I've been in mass fights at work. You know, we've had bricks thrown at us, petrol bombs, all kinds of stuff. It's been absolutely horrendous. And I've put somebody down with my strongest punch and they just get back up again. You know, like a Terminator. Yeah. And then I've hit them again and they've got back up. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And it's the adrenaline. He'll have felt it in the morning, but most doubtedly. You know, then the police turn up. They've got the spray out. They sprayed this guy. Nothing. 5 or 6 guys to get him in the van. And they're the thin panels of the van. And he's punching the walls of the van. And you can see like a cartoon of his fist indent. And they said, we'll have to leave him in the van till he calms down. You know,
that's probably with some use of drugs and
yes. The guy with that. He brushed, like we were trying to restrain him for the police. It was 4 or 5 of us. I'm quite light. All my doorman friends are like 14, 15 stone, big lads, and it just brushes off. You know, it's frightening. If you've never witnessed it, it's terrifying because you think, God, I'm going to have to snap a joint or do some serious physical harm, maybe kill the person. You know, when they just keep getting up and all these people, well, I do this, I do that. No, they did, in my opinion, no, they've not been in serious fights. And a lot of people don't see that in a club. And because they're busy on the dance floor having a good time, you know, having a dance and having a drink, chatting up girls and boys and stuff, and then you know, you're having to deal with it on the front door. You know, they don't see it, and same with the police. You know, you don't see a lot of what the bad stuff they have to deal with.
Yeah.
You know,
One of my students who went to be a prison guard,
yeah,
prison officer, and now he's moved to police, and he said, you know, some things we've been doing in karate was useful to him, but he said that 90% of stuff it doesn't relate at all,
yeah,
because the things he was exposed to is just so random, and it's just unpredictable. You wouldn't come up with some things happening on a dojo floor, because
yeah.
everybody is thoughtful, everybody is in the right frame of a mind. When you get
That's
two
it.
people in adrenaline, you don't know what they're gonna do.
No, the adrenaline, they're adrenalized, they've got the life of crime, they're desensitized. They don't respect the badge, they don't respect the officer. They might have mental health issues as well, you know, which exacerbate the situation. Then the mind's altered chemically or alcohol. You know, throw all that into the mix, you know, and you know it's difficult for the police. No, they're not allowed to do this lock, and they're not allowed to do that, and the guys are adrenalized. You know, the courts. You know, the police. Oh, you should have done this, should have done that. No, they should take the magistrates out at the weekend and see what they have to put up with. You know, deal. It's very difficult when you've got somebody hyper and adrenalized to bring them down with something very soft. You know, they're not listening to you. All the talking, de-escalating, they're not even hearing it, you know, because the hearing's gone and stuff like that. You know, they're just in, like I said, they're just in a rage. It's very difficult not to use force to get them in, like to get them cuffed up or something like that, you know.
I think this is a problem across every life. How to say it? In every work, I used to put up marquees for living. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of health and safety stuff from people who never work one day on the field, saying that you should be doing this like this.
Yeah.
But it's physically impossible to do it the way you want to.
Yeah. I
So
totally understand.
I think everybody who's working for setting any rules should spend at least a month in a field dealing with stuff. And it's as well for martial arts and self-protection. Just go and do it, and then we can talk about rules.
Yeah. I've said that a lot. You used to we'd work the club at the weekend, and then Monday morning, the phone calls are coming in. Oh, my little Billy has been beaten up by the doorman, or he's had the slap, and he would never do anything like this. He'd never do anything like that. You know, and you should say, well, bring the parents down, and not necessarily see the son in action, but stand on a door. Friday, Saturday night, and see the level, how it starts at 7, 8 o'clock, and then it's all nighters. I used to work like 6 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning, and you just see like morality just go. You know, as you get to 2, 3 o'clock, you know, people are drink and drugs and stuff, and then everything just slowly disintegrates the longer you're out. And they should see that. You know, they should go and see. You know, before they're quick to criticise. Yeah, there's bad doormen out there. No, I have no problem with that. You know, but they do a vital job. I've always said if the doorman ever had a union, you know, they said, right, well, we're all going on strike. You know, half the people wouldn't go out. You know, it'd be just lawless. You know,
it's enough to look on how much struggle teachers got. Plus, add to it alcohol and drugs, and you can imagine how difficult your job is on managing people in any way and form is difficult. And drunk people and drug people, when they don't listen and don't want to follow and don't want to do anything, it's super difficult.
It
and
is.
For me as a parent, I think, you know, I would think that my son would never do things like that. But I'm fully aware that, you know, I've been doing stupid things that my parents would never think that I'm gonna do.
Yes, of course. Yeah. We all have.
Yeah. So saying by definition, oh, he definitely haven't done it. It's kind of stepping into the fairyland.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah.
What do you think about you are now in self-protection, so I presume that you've got a very limited spectrum of techniques. I don't want to brush everybody into it, but my neighbor is a Krav Maga instructor and spear instructor. Really nice guy, really thoughtful as well. And he said that the Krav Maga problem is that it's becoming a martial arts business. So their spectrum of techniques going bigger, 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 and bigger. So you can have
Yeah.
a instructor of this, belt, 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 and it's turning into be a martial arts business. Is that something which comes with a success and getting into I want to make money on it, or is it just a natural evolution that you want to keep your students busy?
Yes, it's a big one. If you're trying to teach like a combatives kind of thing, you want techniques that are gross motor skills, because that's what you're left with when the shit hits the fan and the adrenaline's going. The Hollywood stuff that you see teaches, I've always stood by this. It doesn't work. It won't work on somebody adrenalized, hyped up, drinking drugs, reasoning, and then you're feeling the same as well. You know, under stress, it's very difficult to do a strike and then turn and then do this and do that. It has to be simple and fast to overwhelm the threat that's in front of you, so you can get them deal with the threat that's in front of you. And sadly, students, a lot of people, they switch off. You know, they want to see or do all the fancy stuff, which I think is fine. I don't mind, but you know, it's not going to help you when it kicks off, because again, it's understanding the dynamics of a violent attack, how it builds up and how you react to it. You know, a lot of your fancy stuff, it will go out of the window. I did my second dan with Trevor, and my disengagements from various things, I think I did about 85 to 90 from strikes, punches, and I've been on the doors 25 years. I've probably used 4 or 5 things, but it's good to have that depth of technique. But I wanted to know what worked in a live situation, because I was teaching jiu-jitsu, you know. I want to know what works in a live situation. So you either become a doorman or you go out and drink and start fights, you know, and then you're going to lose your liberty. You know, more times you're drinking and stuff, you can lose your liberty as a doorman. But you know, I wanted to see what works, you know, and I've felt it when it's been in. You feel like it's like, say, time slows, like in slow motion. I'm like, am I really hitting him? You know, it's a very, very strange feeling, you know. And so to do really complicated movements, they go out of the window, you know. A lot of people probably dislike that. Yeah, they're in it to make money, you know. But you know, myself and Gary, we've got 50 years frontline experience. I've had door work and military work for Gary's side, and no, we just want to teach our students like the reality. Not so much it's all technique, but more the soft skills. Because you can have a devastating knockout punch. You know, I've worked with some top guys, and some guys been in the face shouting and screaming, effing and swearing and screaming, and the fight drains out of them. You know, so our argument is like, there's no point having all these good strikes if you're not used to the adrenaline dump and and everything shuts down.
Sure.
You know.
So you've been working on the doors. You've been competitor in BJJ, and you've been attacked in your personal life. Do you think that you've got the three Garys Gary's mindset packed up in you? So I presume you are completely in different awareness when you stay on the door, because you know that something gonna kick off all the time.
Yeah.
On a competition, you've got the mindset, I have to win, I am focused on this.
Yeah.
But then you, I suppose, need to have a break from that everything And do you think that you're a little bit switched off in your personal life, so maybe not so aware? And how does that work for you?
I'm pretty much switched on all the time, to be honest. You know, what gets me through? Yeah, I'll be. It's nice to be sat in the house, but if I hear something, I'll look out. I'm always in that preparedness because of working, like I say, working the doors. You know, I didn't go into it. I get doormen coming in and they've got earrings in and a watch and a rings and slip-on shoes, and I'll just say go home. You're used to me with all this. You know, we're here to do a serious job. You know, trying to keep people safe, and it does spill over. You go out with my partner. I'm always looking where the exits are, and people will know what I'm talking about. Even in my kitchen, I don't sit with my back to the kitchen door. You know, and my partner at first said, "Oh God, what are you doing? You're in the flat and everything." I said, "I know, but it just becomes a habit." And I've met coppers that are like that, and military people. You know, it's just it's a mindset. You know, it's not paranoia, but it just through working the doors, and you think, is it going to kick off tonight? So you can't be switched off, you know. And doing the jiu-jitsu, doing the boxing and the striking, that's my outlet. You know, for all that know it, there's lots of nights where you're working and it nearly kicked off. You've had the guy in your face and your adrenaline's been up, but nothing's happened. And then you're back down again and you get somebody else in your face, you know.
That must be really tiring.
It is. And you're up all night because the adrenaline's going. So you'll drink some beers and things, and then the next day I've got to get in the gym just to get that energy, to get the energy out. So even when the guy confronted me in the car park, I wasn't switched off as such.
Yeah, because you noticed that, you know, you parked properly, you look around, you spotted him. So
that's it. I said to my students, I said, on the night it happened, I said, be aware of your surroundings. And so when I park up, I always walk around my car, because I say it's like a gauntlet just to get through to the main car park. And there's parked cars as well. So I'm always looking left, right, anything for an ambush. You know, you can't be complacent. But it wasn't there when I drove and parked the car up, because I got out, I put my rucksack on, got my beer and my boxing gloves. That would have been a perfect opportunity when I was distracted to be ambushed.
Yeah.
You know, so I walked round, like I say, but I had the distance, you know, to overcome the adrenaline dump. You know, so yeah, it's what we try and instill in people. Is just like with the colour codes. You want to be in code yellow, pretty much. You know, just going out to your, going out to the tube in London. You know, it's busy. You know, I live in a really busy town in London, and I've done it. I've gone to a new place and I've had to put something in my map, and I'm thinking, oh God, I shouldn't really be looking, but I'll have a quick look and then keep looking around. It takes practice, but obviously Gary got his from his military in the door. I got mine from the doors of the, staying just switched on, just staying alert of your surroundings. And I've been out in my hometown or wherever I've been out with my friends. I'll say, right, come on, excuse me, it's time to go. I said, it's going to kick off. Oh, no, we'll have another drink. I said, no. I said, we're going now. Just as we get to the door, you hear the table going over, broken bottles and two people fighting, and then say, wow, how did you know that was happening? Like it's a magic skill. But I just said it just through working. You know, you read situations. You know, I'm relaxed. I'm out with my partner, I'm friends, I'm having a good time. But you're just mindful of what's going on in the room. Like I say, where's the nearest exit, stuff like that. It's simple things that you can put into your daily life that can help. You know, it's like I say, awareness and avoidance. You know, those are the two I think two key concepts to have in your mindset, you know.
It's funny because I was just going to ask you, what are the 3 main rules you would recommend to normal people to stay switched on? And you just said 2 of them.
Well, sorry, yeah. Those are the main ones. Yeah, awareness, being aware of your surroundings. That's the key. I think I wrote a little article. I think awareness comes before avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't avoid something if you're not aware of it. If there's four kids with hoodies on, they might be lovely young children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with the society the way it is, and you get conditioned. Or there's 4 youth there. Sadly, yeah, they could mug you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you've got to think like that. And think, right, well, I'll see it. There's a gang of kids on the corner. I will cross over. And then if one of them crosses over, then you think, right, yeah, well, you know, you've made the right choice. If nothing happens, they walk past, brilliant. You can cross over, be on your journey. There's nothing wrong. But if you do cross over and you see them following you, you think, right, well, I've got maybe 10 seconds before they catch up to me to get over the adrenaline dump, so you can ramp up and you can get ready. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you walk past them, they could just put your hand on. They could put a hand on your chest. Where are you going?
Yeah.
You know, we're taxing you. We want your phone. We want it. And whilst you're talking, somebody's walked around behind you, bang, sniped you. You know, so you've walked right into that because you're not aware of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I think awareness is the key. Aware of your surroundings. You know. No, it sounds like you're teaching people to suck eggs. Just don't take the shortcut home. Don't go down that back street. You know, but you have a skinful of beer, like you say, your reasoning goes out.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I'll go home this way, and you're walking into potential trouble zones. You know, so I'm not saying like live like a monk and stuff, but that's why we call it self-protection. You're protecting yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, say a lot of people argue, well, if you self-defense, if you're defending, you're already losing. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'd say that's the key thing, is just being aware of your surroundings. Look 50, 100 meters down the line. What's he got on? Did you look? Where are the hands? Mm-hmm. Yes, it could be winter. They've got the hands in the pockets. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you know, if it's 10 o'clock at night and they've got the hand in the pocket and it's warm, you think, what have they got in there? You know, they've got a knife, they've got a blade, a screwdriver, a syringe, you know, anything. You know, you don't know what's out there. And yeah, it's not nice that everybody you look at, you just treat them that they're not a nice person. But the majority of people, you'll see them walking in a park, you think, yeah, they're okay, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's just that it's a very, very good skill to have, I think. If you're aware, you can get out of that situation, hopefully, you know.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us where we can find information? I know you started a BJJ channel. Where are precision self-protection website and stuff? Can you list everything you want to share? And
okay, yeah, no, thank you. Yes. Let's see. We start with Precision Self-Protection. That's the channel name on YouTube, Precision Self-Protection. You can go on there, subscribe, ring the bell, do everything that they say, like and share the videos. The website is pspcombatives.com. Lots of information going on there. Those are the 2 main things. Me and Gary are on that. I have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu channel, Wimbledon Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Again, subscribe. My website for my club is wimbledonbjj.com. I teach in Wimbledon in the week, and on a monthly, I do an open mat on a Saturday afternoon, 1:30. So that's usually open to BJJ, martial arts people, yourself, your students. I'm trying to get more of the traditional martial arts in to the gym, and we can train everything. If you're karate, other people from traditional jiu-jitsu, Shirinji Kampo come to the gym. Karate guys, my friends that do karate, they come down and we'll share techniques. We'll get the pads out. I've got body armor suits on. We can get stuck in and just share techniques. So that's, I've said that in my other interviews. That's the offers there when everything gets back to normal, hopefully in the summer.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I'm looking into getting back into BJJ because I had to take a break. Like I said, I was done it for a year.
Yeah.
So very, very basic. I'm nobody in BJJ, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to it. So I might be visiting you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you're more than welcome. I say, BJJ is not the be and end all for self-protection. You've got the end. The age-old argument, like the pressure pot, oh, does BJJ work in the street? And I said, no, it's sport jiu-jitsu. But some things work. Now, for me, is knee on belly. A position called knee on belly. You get 2 points for it in a comp. But I've used it. I've took a guy down and you can control them, get them on the side so they don't succumb to positional asphyxiation. You know, instead of, you see these things, you know, the police arrest them, don't they? One guy gets on top. So it's compressing the chest, so they start panicking. So they get another person piles on, and it compresses. And you know, you've seen it in the States. You know, these people lose their lives. You know, because they panic. It's a panic. But the way I've taken them down, I said I'll take them down, say or sort of Gary, and I'll put them on the side. So it's like a recovery position kind of thing. But I've got the knee on belly. It frees my hands. I can take a look around to see if he's got any friend, or get the radio to say, well, get the police, or get call for other people. So that's one of the main things from BJJ. Pulling reverse Della Riva on a nightclub dance floor when it's kicking off. No. So it's totally different. But the open mats, I'm a traditional martial artist beginning. When I got into BJJ, I just want, I turned 50 last year, and the plan was to get all my friends who I've known for years in martial art, all different styles, all just training together, you know. You can karate, you show some karate. I've not done karate for ages. I have one of my students is a blue belt, Satinder. He's a 5th dan in karate. Came to the club, put a white belt on, white belt mentality, you know. That's what I like about him and the other people. I've got friends, students, they do Wing Chun, they do Krav Maga. You know, they've been training it for years, and they put on the white belt and they learn the BJJ. And when we do like I say, an open mat, they'll show me stuff, you know, from the Wing Chun and things. And it's just all good learning.
Thank you, Carl, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm going to put all the links down below.
No problem. No, it's been a pleasure. It's been a little bit different from my normal interviews, with you being from a karate background and the mental health, you know. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.